Hey everybody, Scoutcrafter here again. You know, back in the late 1800s, there was a tremendous amount of companies that were making horseshoes and horse-related products. But with the advent of the automobile in the early 1900s, a lot of these companies had to diversify or go under. And a lot of companies chose to make tools. They had the iron facilities, the machining facilities, and they had a lot of craftsmen that knew how to work with metal. There was a tremendous amount of competition to try and come up with a better mousetrap, so to speak, or a better tool. And since linemen's pliers were very popular back then, one company came up with a really good idea. And they came up with this a type of plier that would revolutionize, or they thought would revolutionize, the industry. And that company was NeverSlip. And if you look here, you could see the name on there, NeverSlip. It was out of New Brunswick, New Jersey. It was a patented pliers. What made these different, look at that, replaceable jaws. They had a screw here and a screw here. You would unscrew it, the jaws would slide out, and you could slide new jaws in, making your pair of lineman pliers last indefinitely. The problem is that it didn't take off as much as they thought it would, and they went out of business and you couldn't get the replacement jaws, so what good was that? But these are really, these are kind of a collectible item. You don't see these too much around. Let's get started. Let's take it apart. Have to be careful because I don't want to strip out these screws, you know. So we're going to add a little penetrating fluid, a little bit of heat, and let's get started with this. Now, if you anticipate the problem before it happens, it makes everything go so much easier. So we anticipated that these little bolts might be frozen in there, so we hit it with the heat and the penetrating oil before we tried to mangle it up with a screwdriver. Everything came out great. Okay, so now here's where we're at. You see what this looks like? And you could see the obvious, you know, the rust and years of corrosion and whatnot, but it's pretty much flat. It's very smooth, so we don't have to worry about that. But these were pretty much frozen in, and one of the jaws is damaged. You could see here somebody tried to cut it, and there's nothing we could do. We can't get these jaws replaced, so I'll put them back in until I figure out. Maybe I'll run into somebody one day that can put a little MIG weld or something across there and grind it down again. But I'll clean these up, clean up the bolts. One of the bolts had the retaining bolt. You could see here. Again, pardon the gloves, I still got the poison ivy. Okay, you can see one here, the one on the right is very nice. The one on the left, somebody banged it. You can see the flat top there. So we're going to have to address that so that we can get a regular screwdriver in there to take it out in the future. Okay, let's get started. Now to clean up the bolt slot, we're going to take a Dremel with a little cutoff wheel, and we're going to run it back and forth. Now, what you do is you kind of practice. You get your hand motion ready with the Dremel off, and then you turn it on and work it through. And then you check it out and see if that's good enough. Okay, we'll do one more pass. Okay, that looks good. Okay, here's our post-wire brush evaluation. You can see it looks okay, except look at all the pitting, and look at this side. Oh my God. That's what you hate to see. That's all the hand oils and everything, the sweat that really eats. That's what's under that rust that you see that people call patina. Nothing patina about that. Anyway, so now we're going to have to look at that. How deep that is. That's deep, and this is hardened steel. It's hard to get down there, so we'll see what we can do tomorrow. I'm going to call it a night for now, and we'll be back tomorrow. Well, after a good breakfast, I was feeling better the next day, and we knocked it out on the belt sander. Then we worked on the bolts using the drill to spin them, and then we went to the buffer. Then after that, we cleared the bolts, and they're good to go. Okay, last step. What we're going to do is every seam here, the top of there, on the bottom, on the sides, you're going to spray in some WD-40 or a good penetrating oil. and you're going to work it back and forth until it comes through. Because of the taper of this, it'll feed through there. And you can see it comes up, you wipe it off, and then you're going to do that again. Just keep working it back and forth, and you'll see that it automatically works itself through that little seam with all the grease, the grime, the rust, and everything. You keep doing that until you get clear, till it comes out the same color as WD-40, and it might take 20 minutes or so because there's a lot in there. And then after that, you put a little 3-in-1 oil, and you're good to go. Well, we added 3 coats of Mother's Wax, and you know my favorite part, remember the before. And we're calling this project finished. This one was a lot of fun, believe it or not, because we were so happy with the way this came out. Now, as you can see, we were able to save the lettering, NeverSlip, and that came out real nice. We polished it down. It's all mirrored, the whole pliers are mirrored. Everything came out really nice. The handles that were all caked up with the rust and everything came out really nice. We even did the insides. It's just a beautiful plier to work with, and obviously it works as smooth. You know, if your pliers don't open and close by themselves, then they're not as smooth as they could be. Now, the jaws, again, the jaws are chowdered up a little bit on here because there's nothing I could do, but I'm hoping to find another pair of jaws one day. They did make a lot of these jaws at one time, and I'm sure somebody's sitting on them, don't even know what they are, so maybe I'll come across a set. But when we took the jaws out, we cleaned them up and everything, and we did a poor man's bluing, which is a magic marker. A little Sharpie on there to make them look good. And as for the bolts, we fixed both of the bolts we fixed, and we cleared them with the Rust-Oleum clear, so they look real good. And it's really a joy to hold and to use. And again, pardon the gloves, I'm still not over the poison ivy. So this is it, the NeverSlip lineman's pliers with the replaceable jaws. They came in 6, I think this is an 8-inch model. They also had different sizes, but really nice. Really happy with the way this came out. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks very much for tuning in. Take care and have a nice day.